I'm Albert Baker Datcher Jr. Everyone knows me as Peter. And I'm the great-grandson of Albert Baker, or Albert and Lucy Wallace Baker, to be more correct. And the great-great-grandson of Rachel and Robert Baker, not counting the others. But anyway, this mission that I started, I can blame one being, and that's God. He started me on this mission. It was not something that I thought of and I thought I want to do. One of the things that taught me that God had me doing this was I had things that happened that could not have possibly happened without His help, without Him being influential in this. One, He sort of tricked me because I had no idea that Black history, the county's history, the community's history, and especially my family's history was so extensive. From the time I was 6 years old, whenever we come to Wilsonville or Columbiana, my mother was with, baby, that's where you folks were slaves out there. That's where you folks were slaves out there. And from the time I was 6, 7 years old, I wasn't giving a blank about it because what I was thinking, man, I got 25 cents. I can get me a drink and some cookies or something when I get to the store. Yeah, boy, I can get the whole package and have money left over. That's what I was thinking about. When she'd tell me this and I was driving her to Columbiana or Wilsonville, whatever, she'd do the same thing. I was 16, 17 years old driving down and she'd point out there, that's where you folks were slaves at, baby, don't forget, that's where you folks were slaves. And I'm thinking, yeah, but when I get home, baby, this weekend, I can party with the guys. I had known that my great-grandfather, Albert Baker, was a slave. I had seen this, I'd been told things, and the only time I snapped was when I saw Roots the first time, and I realized, oh my God, what they told me was true. What Mama and them told me was true. Didn't think about it no more. Why? Because I was thinking about girls and stuff, and going fishing or hunting or whatever at the time. Then one day, I was around 2000, I was looking at my great-grandfather's headstone. And when I looked at it for the first time, I said, oh wow, yeah, he's 100 years old, I knew that. And my great-grandmother was 100 years old when she passed. That's what the headstones said. It said that he was born 1812 and that she was born 1830. He died 1917, she died 1931. I mean, yeah, I said that right. 1931. He was born 1812, she was born 1830. And when I was looking at it, I said, wow, yeah, they was 100 years old. But for the first time, because I had picked up a pamphlet, I picked up this pamphlet. It gave all the most important times of the years from around 1600 or maybe even 1500 up until around the 1970s or 80s. All the things that had happened in the country and stuff, and most of the important years or dates. And one of them that I hadn't remembered was when slavery ended. Approximately 1863 or 4, slavery ended. And I looked at my great-grandfather's headstone and I said, my God, he was 50 years old. He was 50, then it hit me, I was 50. And I almost went to crying because, wait a minute, he's 50 years old. He's labored all of his life, never paid a dime. Labored all that time, and everything he did benefited someone else for 50 years. And I'm 50 years old. And yet, wait, I said, I can remember that day, I looked over and I said, even after then, he founded that church right there. I looked at the land, I looked at the field. He bought this land after he was 50 years old. He bought this land. We have a place to stay because of him. And I've never seen his face on anything. Never known. This man accomplished this after he was freed. And then I said, what's happened? Why is this record not shown? Why didn't we read about this? The only thing we knew was Harriet Tubman, Frederick Douglass, George Washington Carver. That's about all we knew about in school. And that black people had been slaves. It's just a word. My mother, Ruth Bell Garrett Datcher, her name should be put in front of mine because without her, none of this would have been done. None of the things I know, and I probably would not have even started it. She realized that the family had documents, history, pictures that very few blacks have, very few, even in this state, that go to the extent that we had. My grandmother, Rachel, may have known this too because she passed things down to my mother. Her and her daughter, Ada, passed things on to my mother from my great-grandmother, Lucy Wallace Baker. And my mother made sure I never forgot. These things she always made me remember. But the biggest story was when she told me about Albert Baker and Lucy falling in love. That was handed down by my grandmother. She didn't know it until Albert Baker was an old man. They had to come home, they had to come in there and help take care of him, give him baths and stuff. And she and her sisters went to give him their first bath, and they seen all these scars all over his back. Scars, just like you see in these movies, in these slave pictures. He had them. My great-grandfather had these scars all over his back. His children did not know it. He would never let them see him without a shirt on, the girls. I think the boys saw it, because the boys had it up. But anyway, that's another story. Anyway, they saw it, and they asked their mother, Mama, what happened to Daddy? How did he get all these scars all over his back? She said, baby, we fell in love going to Scotts Grove Church. Well, that's where we met at. Because we were on 2 different plantations, they wouldn't let us marry. So he didn't have nobody, I didn't have nobody, but he was a man. He loved me. He slipped off the plantation to see me. And in one of the events, they caught him. They either tied him to a tree or on the ground. That was one of the number one ways they did. They put you on the ground, tie your arms out, and take a bullwhip. 20 to 25 lashes. It was state law. These were laws. If you go to the Alabama slave codes, you will see what the laws are. This is I learned that what I had been told was actually a law. It was actually what they did. I found this research. And that's when they found that out. What also matched, Albert and Lucy had no children until after slavery. Their first child was born about 1.5 years after slavery. They were not allowed to get together, but they stayed together from then on till they died. Both died there on that property at that house, which is there now.